What, you have a podcast?
Really?
Computer, show the historical documents.
Newer and deadlier guns are coming on the market. Last year, for example, saw the introduction of the Sig Sauer MCX Spear, the civilian version of the U.S. Army's new XM7 rifle, twice as powerful as an AR-15. And it's specifically designed to tear through Kevlar or any other supposedly bulletproof material.
So yesterday I made a point about how we are currently living in the right-wing world, that they had successfully created the world in which we find ourselves. And, you know, what the hell can we do about it? And I'm not entirely sure, because it's not getting better. Because immediately after that, you know, I put on the news and I heard about this, not new gun, it's been out for a year now, but apparently it's new to us. Thankfully, the price tag on this new Sig Sauer MCX Spear, that they're calling it, the price tag on this is over $4,000. I think is $4,500 is about the lowest figure I can find anywhere. And because demand has been so high for this thing, you know, the other prices you see are between $6,000 and $8,000, and that's usually resale or merchants just tacking on an extra couple grand for the fact that it is hard to get right now. So I went to Sig Sauer's website. I looked at a bunch of videos on reviews and everything, and I was going to try to put together this, you know, montage of everything, but ultimately I really didn't see the point. This thing can fire with lethal accuracy up to 1,000 yards, you know, so about a mile away. And the whole point, and that seems to be like the whole point of this thing, right? Like the AR-15 is still very effective from a long range, but generally it's, you know, 100 to 200 yards at most. At least to be feasible. Accuracy varies. But this one here combines an AR-15 with basically a sniper rifle. So you now have the power of an AR-15 and a sniper rifle combined, and that's what makes this thing great. And, you know, if you understand how the AR-15 works and why it is so deadly to anyone that it hits. I mean, bullets don't just pass through you, they obliterate you. It is very different. It sends out bullets at such a velocity and with such force that it isn't a normal bullet wound. I've gone over before. There are ER doctor firsthand accounts. You know, they've dealt with regular bullet wounds and then they've dealt with AR-15, and they are two completely different animals. The Washington Post has a fantastic graphic, if you have access to it, that shows how the cavitation from a bullet from an AR-15 will puncture you and then liquefy your organs as it passes through, so that a potential surgeon doesn't even have anything to work with, which is yet another problem I had with Texas trying to teach third graders battlefield medicine. It's like, I'm sorry, even a trained surgeon with all the tools available to him can't do anything with AR-15 wounds to your organs, okay? A tourniquet, a chest compression, sutures aren't going to do anything for you when your liver is pudding. So, you know, this isn't addressing the issue. The issue is the guns. I wish it wasn't. I wish it was mental health, right? I wish it was something that way, because then at least we could go against some. We could go for something and be like, okay, well, there are steps we can take that don't run into a completely fucked up judicial system that has been stacked against us. You know, we have this weapon that can liquefy organs and decapitate heads, not just puncture them, put a hole in them. I mean, you lose whole body parts from a single bullet from this thing if it hits the right spot. So we have the MCX Spear, which can fire up to 1,000 yards with accuracy. It is twice as powerful as an AR-15. So while none of the reviews are shooting cadavers or, pigs, I've seen, kind of like, Mythbusters used to do those ballistic tests, and they would go get an already deceased hog to use as a human equivalent to discover whatever myth it was they were trying to bust. I haven't seen any of those, of course. Again, and I think that's because of the price tag on this thing. All the reviews are people that the company Sig Sauer have approved, and they sent them a free, gun for review purposes. So obviously, no company, even though they know we're marketing this to white supremacists who want to take it to our malls and kill our kids, they're not going to give it to a reviewer who's going to do anything other than a completely professional standard review, like you would a car radio. If a new product comes out and goes to someone you trust as a review, they're going to go over, okay, well, it does this really well. It doesn't do this really well. This is how we tested it. We gave it to our kid and let him play with it, kind of a deal. But it's all very professional. They don't talk about killing humans. It's all, hey, we're out in the middle of nowhere, and, the only things we would shoot with this are of the four-legged variety, kind of a deal. They do go out of their way to mention that it is not a preferred weapon for home defense. One of them even comments that it would go through 14 walls. So why you would purchase this particular weapon for home defense if you're in your apartment, and that was his example, would be crazy. But this thing's very scary. It's also designed to go through armor. Now, one of the reviewers did point out that the bullets necessary to, go through with that function aren't on the market yet. Currently, this thing is being sold at a very narrow caliber and range. It is a .308, if you understand guns at all. And that's the only way you can get it right now. However, the company has said that in the future, it will be modifiable to any ammunition you want. And I'm sorry, the whole point of this, the gun is legally purchased. The modifications can be legally purchased. How far are we really going to, get the proper ammunition to make this thing able to go through Kevlar? And why on earth would you sell this at all? Like, I don't see why police unions especially aren't up in arms about this. Like, I recall very specifically, during the 90s, I think it was the 96 election, between Clinton and Dole. And I remember Gore, of all people, when he was vice president, coming out and making a joke about, he was trying to outlaw bullets with the capability of piercing body armor. And his joke was, show me the deer that's wearing a bulletproof vest. Okay. And that was a huge thing. And the amazing part to me is, why is law enforcement not against these weapons? Like, you would think, hey, here's a thing that is specifically designed to kill SWAT team members. Like, it's designed to do that. That's what it is. Its goal is. And again, this is my huge complaint with handguns, assault rifles like this, is like, if everything goes correctly, there's a lot of dead people. Right? Like, you could make an argument with one of those single barrel regular shotguns or rifles used for hunting, the kind you think about when you think of a hunting rifle, single shot kind of a deal. Those don't pose a threat to law enforcement, who, again, these people are supposedly in charge of, or, in favor of. But I don't see cops out saying, don't do this. I don't see the police unions organizing and saying you cannot allow this kind of weapon to be given to civilians, okay, at all. Like, Second Amendment can go right ahead and screw itself. We are talking about killing police officers. Just imagine a weapon of this magnitude brought to the Capitol on January 6th. Okay? We are extremely lucky that the people attempting a coup on January 6th weren't as well armed as they could have been. And I think that's something they're going to fix in the future. But, you know, this is a very serious thing. We are talking about something that is not just designed to kill humans. It is designed to bypass any protections that a human might consider, you know, having for themselves. And that to me is nuts. I don't see how a weapon like this is made. I mean, one of the huge selling points for this is the exact same thing the army uses. And I'm like, then maybe we shouldn't be giving it to them. And I know in a rational world, you know, these gun nuts are thinking, well, you know, only people who can handle and are trained for a weapon like this will buy it. But as we've seen, you know, the appeal of these weapons is because they require little to no training. And again, that was another selling point on these review videos for this particular weapon, is how easy it is to operate and how you don't really need, you know, you can pull it out of the box and it's ready to go. You don't have to modify it. You don't have to do anything. It's ambidextrous and it's designed for people of all shapes and sizes, and it's ambidextrous so anybody can use it. And again, that's a selling point. That is the thing. And they tied that directly to the military. They would say, oh, you know, and, you know, because it's military, you know, they had to design this weapon to be used by everybody because the military is all shapes and sizes. So now you too can have a weapon that is designed for anybody to just pull out of the box and go. They made mention that the 308, the type of ammo they use, is easily available at every gun store or ammunition depot in the world. It is exceptionally cheap because it is widely used. There was a mention, you know, that kind of sucks if you wanted a different caliber. But the cool thing about the 308 is anybody can get this type of ammunition, and it's cheap and available. And it's just like, you're kidding me. It comes with a silencer. Like, it comes with one. A silencer, a scope. This thing is designed to kill as many people as possible. And, you know, they go into, oh, you know, you want a sniper rifle, but you also want something up close that can take down whatever it is you are. It is referred to as a battle rifle. Okay, that is its designation, a battle rifle. Okay, battle rifle is sure as shit not hunting rifle. This thing is monstrous. And again, they point out, you know, right now it costs a lot. It's outside of your price range. They'll say, you know, hey, you know, if money's not an option, yeah, go for it. This is definitely the weapon you want to use. Okay, great. But even they note in their reviews, as this thing progresses, it's, you know, going to get cheaper as, you know, capitalism does its thing. And the market for these weapons is very high, especially after a mass shooting. I think that's why the industry doesn't go out of their way to downplay mass shootings or speak badly about them. Like, you know, you never hear the NRA even put out a statement of like, we're so sorry that this happened. We're all about safety and security. We're not about offensive attacks like this. They don't do that because after every mass shooting now, it is a boost to the gun industry. And the gun industry absolutely loves this. They have no qualms about it whatsoever. So it's just very scary. And, you know, a weapon, you know, it brings back that ridiculous argument, you know, guns don't kill people, people kill people. And, you know, you're right. A gun is a tool and it can be misused. And I have my own views on why the hell is this tool even available. But let's put that aside for a second, because what I wanted to focus on for a little bit here is the ideology that is going on right now. We have, and, you know, Rachel Maddow had a great segment last night where she was putting together the fact that a year ago this week, we had the Buffalo shooter who went to a historically black neighborhood, went into a grocery store and tried to kill as many black people as he could find. We have the, you know, other shooters in Texas, on El Paso. He went into a Walmart, tried to kill as many Latinos as he could. This person in Allen, Texas, did go here and was targeting Asians and Indians and anybody else that he could. He has been photographed. He himself posted photographs of his Nazi tattoos and everything. And there is an ideology out there that I think is a lot scarier. And a lot of people are focusing on their ideology and, white supremacy, Nazi bad. And I get all that. And I was going to go deep into that too. I even had, there's free software sites that basically you can put any text you want in a box and a robot will read it to you, kind of like Alexa or Siri or whatever you have, and they'll read whatever it is that you type in there. And I've used those in the past here because I think sometimes an audio clip is more effective than me just reading a quote. And I was going to go that route, but then I started thinking, well, what the hell's our ideology? What's ours? We are the potential victims of gun violence. We're not the perpetrators. We are the victims. I thought perhaps a few weeks ago when it was the Nashville shooter who went into a Christian school and apparently was having some trans issues. I was actually sitting here going, wow, this is not shocking. I thought for sure that the victims would rise up a hell of a lot sooner because I'm a pessimist that way about human nature. But, I still haven't figured out what their motivation was, so I don't want to go there until we have confirmation. The police are being a little weird because that shooter in particular did not have a manifesto that they intended to give to the public like this asshole. But anyway, we are the victims of gun violence. What is our ideology? They have their white supremacy. They have their, we're trying to save our Christian white nation from the evil brown people and Jews and whatever else that their bullshit ideology is. Well, what's ours? What is ours? And I think that is the underlying problem that you have when it comes to, at least in this country, the left versus the right. What is the appeal of the Republican Party? What is the appeal of Trump? What is the appeal of this, group of people, the GOP, at least since Reagan? Okay, because, and I point it all to Reagan, not necessarily because this was a bad thing, but he created that Republican in name only, never speak poorly of another Republican. He created that we are one group, we all think the same, we are all on the same team. He really unified the party, which it needed at the time. Remember, this was a party that was still broken up after Nixon and Ford, and, they were really pissed off that somebody like Jimmy Carter beat them. So they were all at each other's throats, and then Reagan comes along and he does unify the party, and it stayed there since. What is the appeal? And the appeal's there. Like, I get it. Nobody likes seeing the sausage made, but with the Republicans, you always know where they stand. You always know what their issue is. They are very, and since Trump, they're very much a cult of personality, a cult of one person, strongman, authoritarianism. Like, it has its own appeal, especially to people who think that they should be given something, which is where you get the white supremacy coming from. You've got these people who feel like, the world was great before all these brown people showed up. And so they go ahead and they support the Republican Party for that. But the left doesn't really have an ideology, right? You have your Green Party members, you have your socialists, you even have some communists, and then you have the Democrats, and you have your social democrats and socialist Democrats, and you got your Bernie and everybody, Bernie, AOC, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris. You've got this huge group, but there's no one leader to it. There's no one defining ideology. It's like, what the hell do you believe in? And even more to the point, what would you be willing to take up arms to defend? And I think that's a huge difference right now between the right and the left. The right has a very clear, we are arming ourselves. And if you ask them, what the hell are you arming yourself against? It is, the white replacement theory, the evil globalist Jew conspiracy. It's all bullshit, but they believe it. And it's a unifying ideology that they all have. And they are willing, they have demonstrated they are willing to die for these causes. And it just made me think, what the hell am I willing to die for? I mean, I know I'm willing to die for my kids, but I think that's every parent. That's not specifically right or left. and I want to defend myself and I want to defend my home. But again, that's not a political ideology. That's just human nature. So what are we fighting for? And unfortunately, I think this is, you hear about the enthusiasm gap between parties. Usually it's like one party's on the down, and right now it's the Democratic Party, right? You've got Biden, who legislatively, if you strictly looked at legislative accomplishments and foreign policy accomplishments, is up there with the top tier Democratic presidents of all time. And he's only been in office, 3 years? I mean, he has got some serious legislative victories. He has some serious foreign policy victories. He has expanded NATO under him. Yes, he failed at Afghanistan, but again, it's like that's one thing out of, again, we're talking the whole world here, so keep it in context. But just legislatively, just executive branch wise, this guy has gotten all kinds of stuff together. However, if you ask your average person, what does the Democratic Party stand for? What does it mean? Are they heading in the right direction? Everyone would tell you no. I don't know what they stand for. I don't know what they mean. I don't know what their goals are or redirection is. Like, it's kind of like it doesn't have a good messenger. Again, this is my critique with Biden, is that he is not telling us why should we vote for him in 2024. We get it's and again, his reason for wanting to be voted for in 2024 is the same as in 2020. It was, do you see who the other side is running? But that's a reason to vote against somebody, not a reason to run for. And I think this is a problem. We on the left, or even center, need to figure out what our ideology is. What is it that we want so badly? And you can't claim the Constitution. Oh, I believe in the Constitution. Okay, whatever. That is problematic as fuck. It was written by slave owners over 200 years ago who had no concept of equality, had no concept of, a police department. Police didn't exist back then. Guns to this magnitude did not exist back then. Cults of personality like what Trump has done and MAGA didn't exist. I mean, these are concepts and ideas that these people couldn't even fathom. If they could have, they wouldn't have been founders. They would have been prophets. And that's not who they were. Okay? They were great men of their time. It is a different time, and we need different ideas. So I don't want to put all my thing into the Constitution. Everybody's like, oh, I hate Rush Limbaugh, but I would defend to death his right to spew the bullshit that he spews. First Amendment, woo! And I'm like, okay, not so much these days. I'm sorry. Germany, and even this mass shooter from Allen, Texas, he posted on one of his things that he wouldn't be allowed to post the things that he posts in Germany. Because in Germany, if you are an out and proud Nazi, they lock your ass up. They don't even care. Freedom of speech does not exist in Germany for Nazis. They just put a hard line and said, no, we're not even fucking going there anymore. And when you see that, and then you see our current problem in Nazi America, where you're like, I understand free speech and all, but this is a problem. This is a very serious problem. These are ideas and concepts that, need to be taught in a classroom. They need to be taught with context. They can't just be on the internet where anybody can stumble across them and interpret them however the internet wants to interpret them. That just seems to me very self-defeating. So we need an ideology. We need something to understand. Our ideology cannot be simply, we're against the other side. It can't. We need something to believe in, not against. We need to be for something, not wish for the destruction of something. This was the promise of the Obama campaign, hope, change, something to vote for. You wanted to vote for him. Biden in 2020 only offered us, I'm not Trump. That's great. That's what we needed. Trump was already president from 2016 to 2020, so I was all on board for that. I was like, yes, I agree 100%. We need return to normalcy, get the hell rid of them. But now it's 2024 coming up, and Biden, I mean, unfortunately, we have the dumbest people on the planet voting, and they are going to judge him for stuff that they do not understand, and they don't think the country's on the right track. And right now, again, the latest poll shows that Trump versus Biden, Trump wins by 6 points. And he doesn't need that. We need Biden to win by 6 points to overcome the bullshit electoral college. So it's not even that we need a 50-50 split right now. We need a 52-45 at worst in order for Biden to overcome the way the electoral college is set up. So we need more than just, we're not the Republicans. And unfortunately, that's not who we are right now. And that's not who the Democratic Party is. We need an ideology to combat theirs, because their ideology says that we should all die. And they are actively trying to do that. We need something to combat the American war zone that is coming. Okay, it's already here. So that's where I am today. I'm kind of thinking, what the hell do we do about this? What is our ideology? What do we believe in? And it's, to me, it is a problem. You need something. We need something. This could be a result of the dearth of leadership. Biden is a good leader for a president from the 70s or 80s or even the 90s. He's not the leader we need right now. He is of a different generation, and it's hurting him. So I'm not saying it has to be him, but it's got to be somebody. We need something to believe in. We need something to move forward with. We need something to offer the other side. That's the whole point of having an ideology. You can't go up to one of these MAGA Trump people and tell them, your ideology sucks and everything you believe in is wrong. You should come with me. And then their question will be, well, what the hell do you offer? Well, we're not you. Like, that's not going to win anybody over. You can't win anyone over with that kind of message. So we need something to be able to offer to these people. They need an off-ramp from their existential crisis that the United States is ending because of brown people and Jews and their BS conspiracy theories. If we don't offer them anything different, they have no incentive to leave. We have to be able to change their minds a little bit. So it's not just, what are we going to bat for? What would we be willing to kill for? It's also, what do we have to offer? Because we don't have much for them. So it's easy for them to equivocate the old-fashioned, both sides are corrupt, both sides suck, whatever, and they're not wrong. They're oversimplifying some things, but they're not wrong. So we really need to come together, and we need to figure out what it is that we're believing here, because these new weapons are coming, and we already know what the current weapons are doing in the wrong hands. We need to get unified behind a message that can resonate to everyone, or this is all going to get a hell of a lot worse before it gets better. And I already think it's that way. Like, I'm a pessimist about this. It is, for me in my brain, yeah, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And me personally, I don't think it's going to get better in my lifetime. I think we are on a downward slope, and it's going to just continue down. And I think my kids are going to have to deal with this crap. I am hoping that that is not the case and we can reverse it. But for right now, that's where I am. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again some other time. Hey, so thanks for listening to the very end of this thing. I just wanted to say once again, this is not monetized in any way, shape, or form. I'm not making a dime off this. I'm using all free software, all that other usual things. I did want to mention that we are now on YouTube. Currently, it's just audio only, with usually like just a single picture or graphic up the whole time. The plan is to change that. I do plan on, adding some actual video to this, but so when you add video to things, you're talking about, lighting, set design, potential costume, even makeup, which I don't think I'm going to do, but, I want to look my best. So there's that. So we are moving towards that. So if you are watching or listening to this on YouTube, video will be coming. It will, of course, always be available as a podcast. I am keeping that element, and that is still the primary method of this. It's still just me talking. So, just wanted to put that out there. Thank you again for the support. You can find me on most social media platforms, and of course, you can always email me directly. I would love to get some information from you guys and see what we can talk about from then. In the meantime, try to stay safe in this crazy world, and we'll see you next time.